He banned me from his home, so I took everything. That was the text I saw at 2 a.m. from my ex. No warning, no argument, just 3 words that changed everything. You're banned. Leave now. I stared at the screen, the late-night glow illuminating my coffee-stained face. My stomach sank, heart racing. Banned? From the home I helped build, the home where I'd bled through the carpets during renovations, the home where our dog, Max, had slept at my feet. How did we get here? Just days before, we'd been planning dinner, laughing over wine, arguing about paint swatches, like normal couples. Now, those walls felt like the walls of a cage locking me out. It started small. Disagreements about chores, whose turn it was to clean the gutters, should we repaint the living room? He always saw things in black and white. My questions meant criticism. My suggestions meant sabotage. I tried to make peace, over text, over coffee, over late-night talks on the couch. I apologized for my tone, for overreacting, for anything he could call an issue. But there's only so much I'm sorry a relationship can absorb before the words ring hollow. One night, I found him talking to his lawyer on speakerphone. I froze in the hallway. I shouldn't have listened, but in that cold, hushed conversation, I heard the word split more than once, followed by custody and divide assets. My throat closed. Suddenly, everything I'd worked for, this house, this life, felt like a fragile sandcastle on the brink of collapse. A week later, the banning text came. You're banned from this home. Don't come back. No signature, no explanation, just the final decree of someone who believed I was a trespasser in my own life. I felt like I'd fallen off a cliff. My wife, ex-wife now, Michael told our dog to go lie in my bedroom. The bedrooms next to mine were filled with packed suitcases and broken vows. Whose clothes were whose? Who left his winter coat? Was that my toothbrush in the cup? I couldn't breathe. Max whimpered as I packed. Shelves of books I'd chosen, our framed wedding photo, my tools I kept in the garage, my grandfather's wrench, the record player I'd saved for months to buy. I shoved everything into boxes, my hands shaking. I wasn't taking revenge. I was taking pieces of a past I needed to hold on to, in case the future tried to erase me. That morning, I drove a rented U-Haul to my brother's place. My eyes stung from packing and from heartache. In the back, boxes shifted. A half-empty wine rack. A jar of coins I'd collected with her for a travel fund. A stone bird feeder I crafted in our garden last spring. It was surreal. My life boxed up and driven away, like a stranger's. My brother didn't ask. He just hugged me, murmured, "I'm sorry," and took Max into his arms. I sat in his empty guest room that night, surrounded by my possessions, and silence heavier than the boxes filled my head. I realized that whatever came next, I had choices. Choices he'd tried to take away. My story didn't end at the door he locked behind me. 3 weeks passed. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't beg for answers. Because when someone tells you, in no uncertain terms, that you're no longer welcome, the last thing you want is to give them the satisfaction of seeing you crawl. But silence didn't mean peace. Inside me, there was noise. So much noise. Questions, memories, unfinished conversations, looping like static in my mind. He banned me from the home we bought together. He locked me out, literally, changed the codes, disabled my keys, wiped my fingerprint from the smart lock. I found out when I came back one night to grab a few forgotten things, and the door wouldn't even blink at me. It was like I was never there. Like the house itself had chosen a side. But I had receipts. Literally. My name was on the deed. The furniture? Half mine. Most of the kitchen appliances? Mine. I bought them. I assembled them. I paid for the plumbing fixes, the yard work, the damn skylight in the kitchen he swore we didn't need, but now bragged about in photos on Instagram. Oh yeah, that too. He was posting. Laughing on the patio, hosting brunch with our friends. Correction, his friends now. I saw it all from the sidelines. Like someone watching reruns of a show they were kicked off of. And every post, every filtered smile and faux candid laugh felt like a slap across the face. He didn't just erase me, He was enjoying it. One of our mutual friends, Sarah, reached out, said she hadn't seen me in weeks. "You okay?" I lied, said I was fine, just busy. But she knew. I could hear it in her silence. "I was at the house last night," she finally said. "Did you give him everything?" I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean, he said you left it all behind, that you didn't want anything, that you were starting fresh." That bastard. He was rewriting history. Like I was some ghost that floated away, too gentle to fight, too passive to care. I felt something in my chest snap. "You want to erase me? Fine, but don't rewrite the story." Because I was there. I was the one who filled that house with color, with warmth, with music and meals and midnight laughter. I was the one who made it home. And if you think you can push me out and pretend I never existed, you've got another thing coming. So I called my lawyer. She listened. Patient. Professional. Fierce. And when I explained the banning text, she said, "He made a big mistake." Because here's the thing. When you're legally co-owners, you don't get to just ban someone. You don't get to shut them out and keep everything like it's a prize you won. I sent her a spreadsheet, receipts, photos of items I brought in, dates, serial numbers. I even had the email from the Skylight Company, addressed only to me, confirming payment. She said, "We have grounds. Do you want to pursue this?" I said, "No." She hesitated. "No?" I smiled, for the first time in weeks. "I don't want a court battle," I said. "I want my things." "All of them?" "Yes." "Even the little stuff?" "Especially the little stuff." So she drafted a letter, a legal one, demanding a full return of all items purchased solely by me, along with a list of jointly owned furniture that I was entitled to by value or contribution. We sent it certified mail. He received it 2 days later. And that's when the texts started. At first, they were aggressive. "Are you kidding me? You're being petty. You left. That means you gave it up." I didn't reply. Then they got desperate. "Can we talk? I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's just split things fairly." "Fairly? You locked me out of my own house and lied about me to our friends. And now that you've been served, you want fair." No. This wasn't revenge. This was balance. I showed up with movers the following weekend. He wasn't there. I made sure of that. My lawyer arranged the pickup while he was out of town. He didn't want a confrontation, said he didn't feel emotionally safe around me. The irony nearly knocked me over. 3 movers, 2 hours. Every item on the list. The espresso machine? Mine. The knives? Mine. The antique mirror we argued about for weeks until I finally bought it to match the hallway? Definitely mine. I walked through that house like a ghost reclaiming space. The walls looked smaller, the rooms colder. Without me, it was just drywall and paint. No music, no warmth. Just silence. He'd even tried to replace some things with knockoffs. A fake version of the rug I chose, cheaper throw pillows, empty bookshelves. He was rebuilding something without a soul. And when the last box was loaded into the truck, I stood in the doorway one last time and said out loud, "You banned me from this house." Pause. "But you forgot. I helped build it." Then I shut the door. The boxes sat in my brother's garage for weeks, stacked, labeled, silent. I'd taken everything that was mine, every fork, lamp, photo frame, even the chipped coffee mug he hated but I adored. I hadn't left a single trace behind. But the truth? Even after taking everything, I still felt empty. Because I hadn't just lost a relationship, I'd lost a piece of myself, a version of me that trusted too easily, that hoped too long, that stayed quiet to keep the peace, even when the silence hurt more than words ever could. And no amount of furniture or frying pans or legal victories could fill that kind of hole. So, I gave myself permission to stop pretending, to stop being strong for everyone else, to grieve, to sit in the echo of the life I thought I had and say, "That wasn't home. That was a prison dressed in cozy blankets and shared Spotify playlists." One night, I pulled open a box labeled, "Living Room, Fragile." Inside was the record player. Our record player. I say our, but really, it was mine. I'd saved for it, researched the brand, spent hours curating vinyls to build a collection that told our story. First date soundtrack, anniversary songs, lazy Sunday jazz. But as I stared at it, all I could think about was how often he told me it was outdated. How he rolled his eyes every time I carefully wiped the dust off the needle. How he refused to learn how to use it because Spotify's easier. I laughed. Not a happy laugh, the kind of bitter, breathless chuckle that sits in your throat like a bruise. He never loved the music. He loved the silence afterward, the control, the neatness. And now, I had the player. But more importantly, I had the music. I set it up, put on a record, sat in the middle of the living room surrounded by half-empty boxes and the low crackle of a Nina Simone track. And I cried. Not because I wanted him back, but because I didn't. Because I knew, deep down, I deserved more. And because, finally, I believed it. A few weeks later, Sarah texted again. She distanced herself from him, said she didn't like the way he talked about me, said it felt off, performative, like he was selling a version of events tailored for sympathy points. He said you were unstable, she texted, that you just bailed. I sent her a photo of the banning message. No caption, just the truth. She called 5 minutes later, apologized for believing him, said she should have known better. Said if I ever wanted to talk, she was there. I told her, thank you, but I'm okay now. And I meant it. By spring, I had a new place. Small, quiet, filled with light. And, slowly, filled with me. Not the me I had to shrink to fit someone else's life, but the real me. Messy, creative, a little broken in places, but whole in all the ways that mattered. I unpacked everything, hung the antique mirror, filled the bookshelves, laid the rug he once hated right in the center of the room. My space, my rules, my silence, and my music. One day, I ran into him. It wasn't planned, just a chance encounter at a local coffee shop we both used to love. He looked older, not in years, but in weight. Like life had leaned on him a little too hard. He smiled, hesitant. Hey, he said, you look good. I nodded. Thanks. There was a pause. Then, I heard you took everything. I didn't flinch. I did. He nodded slowly. Bet that felt good. I met his gaze, calm, steady. No, it felt necessary. He didn't say anything, just looked down at his drink, then back at me. You really love that house, he said. I shook my head. I loved what I thought it was. Another pause. Then I turned, walked away. Not angry, not triumphant. Just done. That was the moment I realized the real power wasn't in taking everything. It was in choosing what I carried forward. I didn't take the bitterness. I didn't take the resentment. I didn't take the shame. I took my books, my mirror, my music, my dignity, and that was enough. Sometimes people try to write you out of your own life. They close doors, change locks, rewrite stories. But the truth? They don't get the final say. You do. You get to take back the pen. You get to say, this was mine. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pack your boxes, hold your head high, and walk out with everything, especially yourself. Subscribe for more dark, faceless storytelling. Have you ever been forced out of a life you helped build, only to realize it wasn't truly yours to begin with?